The wind howled through the broken walls of the old shelter. Cold and sharp, it cut through the thin metal sheets and the torn fabric that barely covered the gaps. Inside, a small alien girl huddled close to her mother. Lyra's tiny hands shook as she pressed her mother's frail body against her own. Her mother's skin was pale, her breaths shallow and uneven. "Mom, please, don't cry," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. We will be okay." Her mother's eyes, dull and tired, opened slowly. She tried to smile, but the effort made her cough weakly. I'm not strong enough, Lyra," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't move. I can't feed you." "I'm sorry." Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. Tears ran down her cheeks. She had seen her mother cry before, but never like this. The storm had taken everything from them. Their village was gone, swallowed by floods and falling trees. Their friends were gone. Their home was gone. Only the two of them had survived. Outside, the forest groaned. Branches scratched against the walls. Strange sounds echoed through the trees. Some were just the wind, some were creatures hunting at night. Lyra had heard stories from the village elders, stories of the night hunters. Big, vicious beasts with glowing eyes that could smell fear. They took anyone weak, anyone alone. She held her mother tighter, shivering. Don't leave me," she whispered. Her mother shook her head weakly. "No, I will not leave you, Lyra. But we need help." "Help?" Lyra's voice was small. "Who can help us, Mom? Everyone is gone." Her mother's lips trembled. She tried to speak, but no words came. Her body shook as exhaustion overtook her. Lyra could feel her pulse fading. Fear clutched her heart. They might not survive the night. Then Lyra noticed something strange. Footprints, human footprints. They were pressed into the muddy ground outside the shelter. Humans were rare on this planet. Most aliens feared them. The stories told of humans being powerful, strange, and sometimes dangerous. But some stories said humans could also be heroes, capable of saving lives. Lyra's eyes widened. "Mom, maybe a human can help us," she whispered, almost not daring to say it aloud. Her mother's eyelids fluttered. "A human?" she said faintly. "Are they safe?" "I don't know," Lyra said. "But we have no choice. We have to try." The girl stood slowly, stepping toward the opening in the shelter. Her mother's weak hand grabbed her arm. "Lyra, don't." "I have to, Mom," she said firmly. Her small voice carried a strength she didn't feel. "We can't just sit here and wait for the night hunters. If someone can save us, it has to be now." The footprints led toward the trees. Lyra crept carefully, keeping her eyes on the shadows. Every sound made her jump. A branch snapped. A rustle came from the bushes. She froze, holding her breath. Then she saw him. A human, a tall figure, moving slowly and carefully through the forest. His steps were deliberate. He carried no weapon in his hands, only a small glowing device. Lyra could not tell if he was dangerous or kind. But he was the only chance they had. "Mom, look," she whispered. "He's here. Maybe he can help us." Her mother tried to sit up, her face pale and lined with pain. "Lyra, be careful," she said weakly. "Not all humans are good. I'll be careful," Lyra promised. She took a deep breath and stepped out into the cold night. Her small feet sank into the wet ground. She could see the human's face now. His eyes were calm. He looked at her, and then at her mother. For a long moment, no one spoke. The wind blew stronger, rattling the shelter walls. Somewhere in the distance, a growl echoed through the trees. The night hunters were near. Lyra's hands shook. Her mother coughed, a weak, painful sound. Fear gripped her chest like ice. She did not know if the human would help or if he would leave. But she had to try. She stepped closer. "Please, my mom. She's sick. Can you help us?" The human's eyes met hers. Calm, quiet, strong. He raised both hands slowly, showing he meant no harm. And in that moment, Lyra felt the tiniest spark of hope dot somewhere deep in the forest. A night hunter howled. The wind carried its growl, sharp and dangerous. Time was running out. Lyra held her mother tightly and whispered again, almost to herself, "Don't cry, Mom. Maybe that human can help us." The night waited silently, full of danger. As the human took the first careful step toward them, Aaron moved quietly through the dense forest. His boots sank into the damp soil, and the cold air stung his skin. The tall trees swayed, casting long shadows that danced like ghosts. He had come to this planet for research, to study its unique plants and strange animals. But now something else had caught his attention. A soft sound drifted through the night, a faint, trembling cry. It was not the cry of a creature. It was small, high-pitched, human-like in tone, but somehow alien. Aaron paused. He had learned long ago to follow sounds that carried fear. Something or someone was in danger. He adjusted the small glowing scanner on his wrist. It blinked quickly, showing traces of life nearby. Not one, but two lives. Weak signals. His heart quickened. He had no idea what kind of beings they were, but the signal was desperate, almost pleading. Aaron moved carefully, trying not to make a sound. He had learned that danger often hid behind silence. The wind whispered through the leaves, masking his steps, but he could sense movement ahead. A small broken shelter came into view, barely standing against the night. Its walls were bent metal sheets, old wood, and torn fabric. Inside, faint shadows shifted. Aaron stopped at the edge of the clearing. He saw them, a small girl, no more. Then 7 or 8 years old, standing protectively in front of a sick woman. Her mother's body slumped against the wall, trembling, skin pale under the weak moonlight. The girl's large eyes were wide, filled with fear and hope at the same time. Aaron raised both hands slowly, showing he meant no harm. He knew this could be the first step or the last. Any wrong move could trigger panic. Or worse. The girl's eyes met his. She tilted her head, studying him carefully. "Please." "My mom, she is sick," she whispered. Can you help?" Aaron nodded gently. I will try," he said softly, unsure if they could understand him. But words were not enough. He had to act. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the trees. Aaron froze. He could hear it clearly now, sharp, deep, dangerous. Night hunters. They had followed the smell of weakness. These creatures were relentless. Aaron knew one false move and they could attack. The girl grabbed her mother's hand and pulled her slightly forward, shielding her as best she could. Her small body trembled, but her courage was clear. She had no weapons, no tools, only her hope. Aaron stepped closer slowly. "Stay calm," he said, raising a small device that emitted soft blue light. It was not a weapon, but it could scare most creatures away. He held it steady, letting the glow illuminate the clearing. The light fell on the girl's face, highlighting her wide eyes and pale cheeks. The night hunter's growl grew louder. Leaves rustled violently as a shadow moved closer. Aaron's heart pounded. The creatures were bigger than anything he had ever seen, muscular, fast, and hungry. Their yellow eyes glowed through the darkness. "Mom, be careful," the girl whispered, clutching her mother tightly. Her voice shook, but she did not run. Aaron took a deep breath. He had no time to hesitate. He moved closer, standing between the girl and her mother and the approaching danger. He could feel the tension in the air, the moment before an attack. He lifted his device higher, sending a sharp burst of light and sound. The night hunters stopped for a moment, surprised, but they were not fully afraid. The girl's mother coughed weakly. Who are you?" she whispered, her voice fragile. Human," Aaron said simply. "I want to help you. Please stay behind me." The creatures circled them, growling, their movements fast and sharp. Aaron held his ground, ready to act. He had no weapon strong enough to kill them quickly, but he had something else, his courage, his skill, and his will to protect life. The girl whispered again to her mother, almost to herself, "Don't cry. Maybe he can save us." Aaron felt the weight of those words. A small, trembling alien girl, holding on to hope in a night full of danger. He would not let them down. The forest waited. Shadows lurked. The night hunters prepared to strike. But Aaron stepped forward, firm and unafraid. He would show them that humans could be different, not just strong, but willing to save, willing to fight for those who could not defend themselves. And in that moment, the first bond formed between a human and two fragile lives lost in a dark, dangerous world. The forest grew darker. Shadows lengthened as the wind whispered through the trees. Aaron stood in the small clearing, his glowing device casting a soft blue light across the broken shelter and the two frightened aliens. The girl clutched her mother tightly, her small body trembling, but she refused to hide. A low, menacing growl echoed from deep in the woods. Leaves rustled violently. Branches snapped under heavy steps. Aaron's eyes narrowed. He had seen enough of these forests to know that sound well. The night hunters were coming. Suddenly, a massive shadow lunged from the trees. Its eyes glowed yellow, bright as fire, reflecting Aaron's light. The creature was huge, muscles rippling under dark, rough skin. Its claws dug into the earth, sending small stones and dirt flying. The girl screamed, "Mom! Mom! Hide!" Her mother tried to pull her down, but she was too weak to move quickly. Her body shivered with fear. Aaron stepped forward, placing himself between the girl, her mother, and the approaching predator. "Stay behind me," he shouted. His voice carried through the night. The creature hesitated for a moment, sensing the human's presence. Aaron raised his device higher. It emitted a sudden pulse of blue light and a sharp, high-pitched sound. The night hunter froze. Its yellow eyes blinked, confused by the unusual display. For a moment, Aaron thought he might have scared it away. But the hunter's patience was short. With a deafening roar, it leaped toward them, claws outstretched. The ground trembled under its weight. The girl screamed and clutched her mother's arm, shaking with terror. Aaron reacted instinctively. He grabbed a piece of metal debris from the ruined shelter and held it like a shield. The beast struck with its massive paw, sending a loud metallic clang echoing through the clearing. The force knocked Aaron backward, scraping his arm against a tree. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he stayed standing. The girl cried out, "Human, don't die!" Her voice was small, but filled with determination. She refused to look away, refusing to hide, as if her hope alone could help him fight. Aaron took a deep breath and steadied himself. He knew he could not fight the beast like one of his own species. He had no weapon strong enough to defeat it with a single strike. But he had something the creature could not understand: courage and strategy. He waved the glowing device again, creating bright flashes and high-frequency bursts. The light reflected off the beast's scales, momentarily blinding it. It stumbled, but did not stop. The predator was too hungry, too focused. Aaron's mind raced. He could see the girl and her mother trembling behind him. He could not let them die. He darted forward, guiding the beast's momentum toward a fallen tree. With a loud crash, the creature struck the log and stumbled. Aaron seized the moment, slashing a sharp branch toward it, not to kill, but to force it back. The beast roared and spun, furious, and for a second, Aaron thought it might attack again. But then it stopped, sniffing the air, confused and wary. The strange blue light and sharp sounds were unlike anything it ever faced. Slowly, it turned and disappeared into the forest shadows, growling once more before vanishing. The girl collapsed beside her mother, tears running down her cheeks. You saved us," she whispered. Her small hands clutched Aaron's arm as if to make sure he was real. Her mother tried to speak but could only cough weakly. "Thank you," she gasped, her voice barely audible. I thought we were lost." Aaron wiped the sweat and dirt from his face. His shoulder ached and his heart raced. But he had no time to rest. The night was far from safe. Other creatures could still be nearby. He turned his eyes toward the forest, scanning for movement. The girl looked at him, wide-eyed. "Who are you?" she asked softly. Aaron knelt down, keeping his distance respectful but firm. I am a human. I want to help you. You are safe for now, but we need to move, quickly." The mother tried to sit up but collapsed again, weak and shivering. Aaron realized she needed care immediately, or she might not survive until morning. He looked at the girl, determination in his eyes. "Can you help me get her up?" he asked gently. The girl nodded, her hands shaking but steady. Together, they lifted the mother carefully, Aaron supporting her weight, the girl guiding her feet. Even as they moved toward what Aaron hoped was safety, a cold wind blew, carrying the echo of distant growls. The night hunters were still out there, lurking. The danger was not over, but for the first time, the girl felt a spark of hope. The human was real. He was here, and somehow, he might just be strong enough to save them. The forest remained dark and quiet, but the air was thick with tension. Aaron carried the mother in his strong arms, careful not to jostle her weak body. The girl, Lyra, ran beside him, holding his hand tightly. Her small fingers gripped his like a lifeline. Every step was dangerous. They could not rest, not even for a moment. Her mother stirred weakly. "Water, please." "Cold water," she whispered, voice faint and trembling. Aaron nodded. "We'll get you water soon," he said softly. "Stay with me." The girl glanced around nervously. Shadows stretched between the trees, and distant rustling made her heart race. The night hunters might still be nearby. She had seen the size of the first beast. Others could be following them, waiting for weakness. "Mom, stay awake," Lyra urged. "Please, just a little longer." Her mother coughed harshly, sweat dripping from her brow. I can't. I'm so tired." Aaron adjusted his grip on her mother. "You're going to be fine," he said firmly. "We just need to get somewhere safe. Can you walk a few steps with me?" The mother shook her head weakly. I can't." Lyra's small voice rose with determination. "Then let me help." "I can help." Aaron smiled briefly. There was bravery in that tiny girl, more than he had expected. "Okay," he said. "We'll do it together." Step by step, they moved through the forest. The ground was uneven, wet from earlier rains, and thick roots threatened to trip them. Every sound made Lyra jump. A branch snapped, and she froze, holding her mother's hand tighter. "Stay calm," Aaron whispered. "Nothing will touch you while I'm here." Hours felt like minutes. The mother's breathing was shallow, but stable enough for them to continue. Lyra never let go, her eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. She whispered, I hope he's really helping us. I hope he's not going to leave." Aaron looked down at her. "I'm not going anywhere," he promised. Finally, they reached a clearing. Aaron's portable camp was small, but well equipped. Warm lights glowed, and inside, there were basic medical supplies, a small heater, and food packets for emergencies. The sight of safety made Lyra's knees buckle. She almost ran forward, but Aaron gently stopped her. "Careful," he said. "She needs to stay still for now." The mother's eyes fluttered open briefly. She whispered weakly, "Thank you, human. You saved my child." Aaron set her down on a small cot inside the camp. He checked her pulse and breathing. She was stable, but she still needed more care. He handed Lyra a warm cloth to wipe her mother's forehead. The girl obeyed, trembling with a mix of fear and relief. This is magic," Lyra whispered, eyes wide at the lights and warmth. How can you do all this? Aaron shook his head gently. Not magic, he said. Just tools and care. The girl's mother tried to speak, but a cough stole her words. Lyra leaned closer, whispering, Don't worry, Mom. He will help us. I know he will. Aaron set about preparing a simple meal. The mother could not eat much, but he made a warm broth that she could sip slowly. The girl watched, fascinated, as he worked quickly but carefully. Each action seemed small, but it carried a promise of life. Yet outside the camp, the forest was not calm. Shadows moved among the trees. Aaron glanced at his scanner. Signals of movement. Not far away. Night hunters were still in the area, waiting, hungry, patient. He sighed, knowing they might have to face danger again. But for now, he had given them something they had not felt in days. Hope. Fragile, small, but real. Lyra looked at her mother, who managed a faint smile. See, Mom? She whispered. The human. He is helping us. He is safe. He is kind. Her mother's lips trembled. Yes, I think he might save us. Aaron watched them, feeling a weight in his chest. He had come to this planet to study, to observe. He had never expected to fight for life, to protect two strangers in the darkness. Yet here he was. And he could not turn away. The forest remained alive with danger. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the promise of predators still hidden. But inside the small camp, a fragile hope had been born. A hope that maybe, just maybe, they could survive the night. And as Lyra held her mother close, whispering words of encouragement, Aaron felt something stir within him. He had not come to this planet to change lives. Yet tonight, he was already changing too. The camp was quiet, but the night outside was restless. The shadows of the forest moved like waves over the ground. Aaron had laid the mother gently on a cot. Her breathing had slowed, but her pulse was still weak. Every shallow rise and fall of her chest made his stomach tighten. He knew she needed more than rest, she needed care, warmth, and hope. Lyra sat on the floor, her legs crossed, her small hands clasped together. She stared at Aaron, wide-eyed, fascinated by the glowing devices and strange tools scattered across the camp. Human, how can you do all this? She asked softly. Aaron glanced at her and gave a small, tired smile. Not magic, he said. Just tools. And I know how to use them. The girl's eyes sparkled, a mix of awe and relief. She had never seen a human like this, calm, strong, and yet kind. She watched as he carefully applied a healing patch to her mother's arm. The mother winced slightly, but did not resist. Slowly, color returned to her pale skin, and her shallow breathing became steadier. Mom. Look, Lyra whispered, brushing the damp hair from her mother's forehead. He's helping you. He's saving you. Her mother tried to smile but coughed instead, weakly. I feel a little better, she murmured. Her voice was faint but real. Thank you, human. Aaron checked the mother's vitals with a small device that beeped softly. He had no advanced hospital, no full medical lab, but the tools he carried were enough for emergencies. Enough to save lives when someone truly tried. Suddenly, the wind outside shifted. A rustle in the trees made Aaron tense. He glanced at the scanner movement. Not far away. The night hunters had not left. They were circling, patient and hungry. Aaron's jaw tightened. He had prepared for this. He reached into a compartment and pulled out a small energy device. Unlike a weapon, it emitted intense flashes of light and bursts of sound. It could disorient any creature, making them pause or retreat. He activated it briefly, and a burst of light flashed into the forest. Lyra gasped. It's like magic, she whispered. Aaron shook his head. It's not magic. It's human technology. But it can protect us if we use it wisely. He turned back to the mother. "Drink this," he said, handing her a warm, nutrient-rich liquid. She sipped slowly, wincing as the warmth ran through her chest. Her breathing became steadier, her eyelids lifting slightly. Aaron smiled. Small victories mattered. The girl watched him closely. Why are you helping us?" she asked, voice trembling. Aaron paused. He had no easy answer. "Because someone has to," he said simply. "No one should be left alone. Not like this." The mother stirred more strongly now. I can." "Sit," she said, her voice gaining a little strength. "Thank you, human. You saved my daughter." Aaron nodded. "We're not done yet. We need to make sure no one, or nothing, can harm you tonight." Outside, the shadows shifted again. Aaron stepped to the camp's perimeter and activated a series of small lights and alarms. Bright beams crisscrossed the clearing, forcing the night hunters to keep their distance. The creatures growled from afar, confused and frustrated. Lyra clapped her hands softly. "See, Mom? He is protecting us. He really is a hero." Her mother smiled weakly, holding her daughter's hand. "Yes, he is. A true hero." Aaron returned to their side, crouching beside the girl. "We still have to be careful," he said. "The night is not safe. But for now, you can rest. I'll keep watch." He watched over them silently, his eyes scanning the dark forest. Even with his tools and devices, the danger was real. But Aaron felt a quiet satisfaction. The mother had a fragile pulse, the girl had hope, and he had the power, his human strength, courage, and technology to keep them alive. Lyra leaned against her mother, whispering softly, "Maybe, just maybe, the human really can save us." Aaron smiled faintly. In that moment, he realized something important. He had come to this planet as a stranger, a visitor. But tonight, he had become more than that. He was a protector, a savior. And perhaps in a world full of danger, that was the most powerful thing a human could be. The night pressed on outside, full of shadows and threats. But inside the small camp, hope glowed brighter than any danger. And for Lyra and her mother, it was enough for now. The forest outside the camp had grown quiet, almost too quiet. Aaron's eyes scanned the darkness, sharp and alert. He could feel it, the presence of the night hunters still lurking, waiting for the perfect moment. They were patient, cunning predators who attacked the weak without mercy. And tonight, he had 2 lives to protect. Lyra sat beside her mother, brushing her damp hair from her face. Her small body trembled as she whispered, "Mom, he will save us. I know he will." Her mother smiled weakly. "Yes, he has already saved us. But we must be ready." Aaron activated the camp's perimeter lights and alarms, creating a glowing barrier on the small clearing. Bright beams cut through the darkness, forming a wall of light that reflected off the nearby trees. The sensors would alert him to any movement. Still, he knew the hunters would not be easily scared. A distant growl echoed. Then another. The forest seemed alive with danger. Leaves rustled violently, and shadows flickered at the edges of the light. Aaron's pulse quickened. The night hunters were circling, studying their prey. Suddenly, one of the hunters leaped from the darkness, its claws slashing the air. The lights flashed, blinding it momentarily, but it did not stop. Its eyes burned with hunger, its roar deafening. "Get inside!" Aaron shouted, pulling the girl and her mother toward the cot. Lyra clutched her mother's hand, fear written across her small face. Aaron knew the lights alone would not hold the hunters. He stepped outside the immediate perimeter, facing the first attacker. The creature was massive, muscles rippling, claws sharp as knives. Aaron held his device high. It released a burst of sound and light, startling the beast. But the hunter recovered quickly, charging at him with terrifying speed. Aaron ducked and rolled, landing in a crouch. The creature struck the ground where he had been moments before, sending dirt and leaves flying. He grabbed a metal rod from the camp supplies and swung it, forcing the hunter back. It growled, eyes narrowing, then leaped toward him again. Inside the camp, Lyra screamed. Her mother whispered prayers, clutching her daughter tightly. Aaron knew he could not let the beasts reach them. He had to hold them off, no matter the cost. The first hunter attacked, then a second appeared from the shadows. Aaron's hands moved quickly, activating the energy device. Flashes of blue light and high-frequency bursts filled the clearing, disorienting the predators. One staggered, another yelped in confusion, but there were more enough to overwhelm him if he did not act fast. Aaron ran toward a large tree at the edge of the camp. Using the branches and fallen logs, he created obstacles to slow the hunters. He ducked, dodged, and waved his device, keeping the creatures at bay without harming them too severely. Lyra watched in awe and fear. "Mom, he's fighting them all alone," she whispered. Her small hands clenched tightly, nails digging into her palms. Her mother nodded weakly. "Yes, he is protecting us. A true hero." Aaron pushed forward, guiding the creatures toward a clearing where the beams of light were brightest. Each step was careful, each move calculated. He could feel exhaustion creeping in, muscles burning, but he refused to stop. One wrong move and the girl and her mother could be lost forever. Finally, with a powerful burst of his device, Aaron sent a pulse of energy across the clearing. The night hunters growled and recoiled, their glowing eyes flickering in confusion. They hesitated, then retreated into the shadows, vanishing into the forest. Aaron fell to his knees, breathing heavily, covered in dirt and sweat. The threat had passed for now. He looked back at the camp. Lyra rushed forward, hugging him tightly. You saved us. You really saved us." Her mother weakly lifted her hand, touching his arm. "Thank you, human, for everything." Aaron gave a tired smile. "It's not over yet. They may come back. But for now, we are safe." Lyra looked up at him, eyes shining. I knew you could protect us. I knew you could save us." Aaron rested for a moment, knowing the night was far from over. But inside the small camp, hope burned brighter than any fear. The mother's pulse had steadied, the girl's courage had grown, and Aaron's presence had become a shield between life and death. He looked into the forest, alert and ready. Danger still lingered, but for the first time, he felt that they could survive. Together, perhaps, they could face whatever the night had left for them. The first light of dawn filtered through the trees, soft and pale, as if the forest itself had finally calmed. The night hunters had retreated, leaving the clearing quiet. Aaron still sat near the camp perimeter, eyes scanning the forest, alert for any sign of danger. The night had been long, and his body ached from the fight. But he felt a small warmth inside, a quiet satisfaction that they had survived. Inside the camp, Lyra and her mother were beginning to feel the first signs of safety. The mother's pulse was steady now, and her breathing had returned to normal. She sat up slowly, the warm sun casting a gentle glow over her tired face. I can breathe again," she said softly, her voice filled with relief. You saved us, human. I don't know how to thank you." Aaron shook his head gently. "No need to thank me. You are alive. That is enough." He smiled faintly, though exhaustion shadowed his face. "The rest. We will take one step at a time." Lyra ran forward, hugging his legs tightly. "Human, I knew you could help us. You fought all those beasts. You didn't leave us alone. You really saved us." Her small voice was full of awe, her wide eyes shining with gratitude and admiration. Aaron knelt down to meet her gaze. "I did what I had to do. You and your mother needed help, and I couldn't turn away." The mother's weak hands rested on Lyra's shoulders. "He has given us hope. Real hope. For the first time since the storm. We can believe we will survive." She smiled faintly, her eyes glistening with tears. "Not just survive. Maybe even live." Aaron's eyes scanned the clearing again. He knew the forest still held dangers. Other predators might return, and the journey to safety was not over. But for now, they had shelter, warmth, and protection. Small victories, he reminded himself, mattered most in a world like this. Suddenly, faint voices came from the direction of the destroyed village. Figures appeared through the trees, tribe members who had survived the storm and been searching for any sign of life. Relief and disbelief crossed their faces as they saw the humans standing beside the mother and child. The tribe members approached cautiously, bows and spears lowered but still in hand. Their leader, a tall figure with silver streaks in his hair, stepped forward. He studied Aaron, eyes narrowing at first, then softening as he saw the care with which Aaron had treated the mother and child. "You, a human?" the leader asked, voice cautious but respectful. "We feared your kind. Yet here you stand, protecting ours." Aaron nodded simply. "I am a human. I only want to help." The leader looked at Lyra and her mother, relief washing over his face. He turned back to Aaron and bowed deeply, a gesture of honor. "You have saved our children, saved our tribe. For that, we honor you. You are welcome among us, as a friend, as a protector." Lyra's mother whispered softly, tears running down her cheeks. I thought we were lost. But you brought us back to life." Lyra hugged her mother, then turned to Aaron. "See, Mom? I told you. The human could help us." Her voice was small, yet full of certainty. "He really is a hero." Aaron felt a quiet warmth in his chest. He had come to this planet as a visitor, a stranger. He had not expected to fight, to protect, or to become a part of someone else's life. Yet now, standing among these aliens who had trusted him, he realized that sometimes courage, care, and a willingness to act could change everything. The mother smiled faintly. "A new beginning. Thanks to you." She held Lyra close, feeling hope grow stronger with each passing moment. Aaron looked toward the forest, then back at the mother and child. The night of terror was over, but the bonds formed during it would last. He had not only saved lives, he had created trust, respect, and a bridge between species that had feared each other for so long. Lyra's small voice broke the quiet. "We are safe, and we have you. You are one of us now, human." Aaron smiled, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "I will always be here, as long as you need me." The sun rose higher, casting golden light over the camp. The forest no longer seemed menacing, but alive with possibility. Today was a new beginning. Today, hope had returned, and in the heart of that small clearing, a human, a child, and her mother looked forward to a future where survival was no longer just a dream, but a reality they could face together.